agent of change returns, and the course of history shall never be the same. Stop right there. Ah, here comes the unexpected wrinkle in my master's plan. I know who you are, lost daughter of Hades, and I know that you know who I am. I had a premonition of this very moment.
Lord Prometheus, I presume. You must have premonitions all the time. I'd not heard you were liberated, or that Chronos is the master you serve. Solidarity between titans, then?
Call it a change of heart. I was a coward and a fool, you see, to have sided once with gods against my kind, but no more. This is my attempt at atonement.
What, by leading this reckless assault? I never took you for a coward, but you remain a fool.
Perhaps you're right, but I shall be a victorious fool at least. For I have seen you stand no chance at all. Attack. I knew it. I know you think that you can get past me if you but continue to try, and to try, and to try. The truth is you shall. Perhaps not this night, but inevitably nonetheless.
At least you saved me some suspense. If I knew every outcome, as does the infamous Titan of Foresight, perhaps I too would become a disaffected, traitorous wretch.
What would you know of my plight? You who flail against time itself. So much courage born of pride. Come then, agent of change, and show me what I know you can do.
Prometheus.
Itos has excellent vision, of course. Saw you since you first set foot at the base of the mountain. Slowed you down, perhaps, but still. I knew you'd be here now.
Truly? And what shall be the outcome of our confrontation this time, since you know everything? Same as the last?
If you knew, the outcome would invariably be rather different than the one that's imminent. Though I suppose I can at least give you a hint. You know what lies beyond and still returned. I knew you would, of course, yet I don't know why. Because you won't tell me.
That's right. Your nonsense riddles are a bigger threat to my health than you, or your blasted eagle pet for that matter.
The threat you face is beyond your understanding. That is the only reason you persevere. Your ignorance is a gift, much like the fire that I shared with mortal kind, and now with you. A brief word. I know your capability and can anticipate your every move, but there are times my mind leads me astray, you see. Anticipating possibilities that do not come to pass, resulting in all too many mistakes.
Mistakes such as revealing this to me, or being here at all. Have you learned nothing from your past imprisonment?
To be imprisoned is to be denied the opportunity to learn. A cruel form of torture in itself, but I did learn something, yes. I cannot break. I don't know.
Guess who? Why bother talking to me all these nights, Titan, if you know everything I'm going to say? How tedious your life must be.
It used to be much worse, but to your point. I would not wish the curse of Foresight onto anyone, except perhaps the worst of all my enemies. And you are not yet one.
Oh? I'll have to work harder to earn that distinction then. And when I set my mind to something, I typically succeed.
I am aware. But I also know that pride, one of the defining traits of your kind, tends to precede a fall. You shall see where all your certainty gets you. Agent of change. Resist all you like, yet the age of gods shall end. Time shall see to it. And thereafter a golden age of enlightenment shall begin, in which you gods hold far less sway.
If I somehow gave you the impression that I'm interested in your doomsaying and false prophecies, I assure you I'm not.
Your disregard is the very reason you're no longer fit to rule. I know you'll never relinquish this mountain. Fall with it, then. Go, Kratos. Don't move. The question you're about to ask is mocking nonsense to supplant the more important subject troubling you now. Go on. I cannot respond if you hold back.
No. You have no control over me or my future. And don't worry, I'm not going to hold back.
I knew you would react this way, but knew no other way to broach the subject. How often I create the outcomes I'm attempting to prevent. My master's plan, of course, requires time. The objective here is not to stop you permanently, but to slow you down.
Unless you just can't help revealing vital information to your enemies, I'm going to assume you're spouting this drivel to mislead me. Either way, my own objective remains the same.
Yes, bullheadedness is one of your family's defining traits. Then let us execute our respective plans. There is a possibility that mine shall succeed here beyond measure. What do you know? You have questions for me about a great many things. I shall not answer them, not yet. The words must first escape your lips, for one.
How about I save my breath instead? You won't know what I'm going to say if I never say it.
Yet your heart, if not your eyes and ears, suggest to you that I am not the liar that your mind believes me to be. We stand in opposition nonetheless. I know what you're about to say, Agent of Change, and caution you. Don't say it. Should you verbalize your thoughts, the outcome shall be of no benefit to either of us.
Fine. Just in case. But you'll forgive me if I'm a little skeptical that we change the course of history like this.
You still don't understand. We are as clay, the lot of us, able to be molded and remolded. One disastrous consequence we avoided, but there's no preventing the next. I knew it.
Why do you care so much for mortals anyhow? Their lives are short, their flesh is weak. Only in death do many of them finally begin to gain some sense.
Any laborer of skill cares for their work. Mortals, poor sods created in the image of the gods, yet forced to be inferior so that they could never achieve what my master and I now intend.
You mean to say that you fashioned mortal kind, then stole the fire from this mountain for their sake? Absurd.
The truth can be difficult to absorb. Mortals live only to suffer. As I am responsible for that, I sought to take some of their suffering from them and redistribute it to all of you.
Titan?
Gods could learn something from mortals, you know. For all their many failings, they have an admirable tendency to cling to hope. A certain quality we deathless often lack.
Hope can be the salve for the naive. So many mortals hope they'll never die. A feeling born of delusion and fear.
Yes, mortals live short, painful lives. And even still they strive for something greater than they mostly can achieve. I fight for them. You gods fight only for yourselves. Gods. You who condemn me as a criminal. Would you know why I liberated fire from this mountain for the sake of mortal kind?
My own increasingly strong sense of foresight indicates you're going to tell me no matter what.
When I gave mortals nourishment, the meat they would have sacrificed to you, they needed fire then, and more. But you hoarded all of it. So I saved them, and I'll do it again. Our nightly routine. So it's to be my borrowed flames against your own this night. This could be rather entertaining if I didn't know already how it was going to play out.
I'm not here for your amusement, Titan. Your stolen flame hasn't made you immune.
Certainly not. And I anticipate that Ignium, for I know the weapons that you bear, shall rather sting. But I've felt worse. What do you know?
Perhaps your so-called Master Chronos wants for you to fail. To suffer more than you already have. He seeks vengeance on the gods for overthrowing him before, when you were their ally.
I don't seek my master's forgiveness nor assume his loyalty. Alliances are born of shared goals, perhaps ideals, whereas the gods and I are at cross purposes.
Because they punished you for crimes you knowingly committed? What else could they have done after you deceived them and took from them?
I took nothing. Fire spreads, burns anything that stands in its path. The gods sought to imprison it, but I set it loose. Now at last, we each are free, and burning still. Together, Itos. The moon. It's you. The future is a series of fixed points. Not even my master believes this to be true, but I have seen the many possibilities. The only question is, which is our destination?
You fill my mind with this nonsense. Not even the three fates know entirely what the future holds, for they are always weaving.
They were always weaving, yes. I know that you know that they weave no longer now. Yet moment by moment the future still unfolds. Let us give shape to it ourselves. Get to Itos. My premonition. You have a brother you never even knew. I had a prideful one, a scatter-minded one, and a pathetic one bearing the weight of the world on his shoulders. Which do you suppose yours is most like?
No wonder you hate my family. You hate yours. Shall we proceed to try and kill each other now? I don't have all night.
My brothers and I used to quarrel frequently. I thought I had outgrown it, become more civilized. But clearly no. Itos attack.
Surprised?
I know the tinge of gods, but you have something else. Something older. The mark of chaos. The eldest, most indifferent force in existence. Goaded into action.
Not even Chaos wishes to see Chronos prevail. What does that tell you about your own decision to take sides?
It tells me that all beings are fallible, beginning with chaos. We are all vulgar accidents, do you see? Yet still we strive toward perfection, which remains ever out of reach.
Prometheus.
You work with enchantresses to try and gain the upper hand, but such distraction shall be of no avail against me. It is not the size of the opponent that's of consequence.
To have recognized Madame Circe's craft, only to underestimate its potency. Your foresight evidently has its limits, Titan.
That it does. But your incantations have their limitations in kind. You would be wise not to depend on them too much. Don't move. You gods coerced all mortal kind into worshipping you, and for what? You've nothing to gain by slaughtering them at your whim. Leave them be.
I'll be sure to put in the request with my Lord Uncle Zeus, if you could go ahead and let me past so I can pay him a visit.
Your Lord Uncle had me bound to a mountain for eons, so that Itos here could feast upon my flesh for all that time. Itos came round eventually, but Zeus, he never shall. See. A brief word. Great Zeus did not have me bound and tortured merely for the supposed crime of taking fire from this mountain. No. He wanted certain information about his eventual downfall.
So you threatened the king of the Olympians with false prophecies, and he took it out on you. Perhaps not one of my Lord Uncle's proudest moments, and yet understandable. What did you tell him?
I told him nothing. Merely that his time shall come. A specific outcome that grows more likely with each passing night. You are but a wrinkle in the plan. Nothing more. Thanatos. Sure enough. I knew this would happen. Yet I could not prevent it, do you see? I could only do my part.
Silence. Save your troubles for your master Chronos.
It's not my troubles that I mean to save. Agent of change. You, God. I hate you all.
He's gone. For Charon.
I knew that this would be a struggle, but hold always to the chance I may be wrong. I knew this would happen.
Enough of his foresight. For my father.
Curse these old wounds of mine. I once was stronger than this. I've suffered worse. I've done my part here, just as you did yours. For this was bound to happen as it did.
See you later. For Cerberus.
I am beaten, but you cannot afford to give chase, and my strength shall return. All according to plan.
Go lick your wounds. For my mother.
If suffering today brings about a better tomorrow, so be it. I should have expected this.
Did he know he'd lose? For the Underworld.
Dionysus and I have done what needed to be done. Now you go do the same. I did what needed to be done.
He's gone. For Thanatos.
If you could see what I've foreseen, you'd not believe it anyhow. This, too, shall pass. I foresaw your trickery, yet still could not prevent it, no matter what I tried. Was there nothing I could have done?
Saw that coming. For my mother.
Compared to what I have withstood before, this was nothing at all. I knew this would happen.
what you sow.
The famous wrath of Olympus. It cannot easily be stopped, you see. All according to plan.
A narrow victory, but still. For my brother. Damn you. No!
There was no dignity in this at all. Complacency leads to a downfall soon enough. Blasted beast. Reinforcements now!
No!
She's gone for now, I toast, but she'll return. I'll tear the gods apart with my bare hands.
No!
Flame of Olympus! I had no other means to drive you back.
You!
I know your every move, whilst you know nothing.
Why bother when Prometheus has seen that you shall fail?
My master shall be very pleased with this result.
No!
Incinerate! Your boundless pride won't save you anymore. There wasn't anything you could have done. You'll burn!
No!
Another night, the same exact outcome.
Proceed with care.
You must know the Titan Prometheus. I faced him on Olympus. Little wonder he now fights against the gods, having met his doom and lived. Unlike the mortals he supposedly cares for so much.
Prometheus. I took no pleasure in his plight. The gods certainly know how to make an example of someone. Now he seeks vengeance. A favored pattern in the weavings of the fates.
Now that you mention it, his knowledge of the future seems similar to that of your sisters. Do you suppose he's sided with Chronos because he knows Chronos will ultimately win?
I do not wish to speculate, Princess. All I know is the Titan of Foresight never was the violent sort. His experience in captivity must have changed him.
I'll have to change him some more.
To victory. In my weakest moments, I used to envy Prometheus, even knowing his plight. For he was loved by mortals, having given them the gift of fire from Olympus. I, on the other hand, was hated. It should not have mattered to me, but it did.
Come on, Lord Moros. What mortals think of us is of no consequence. Even if it were, better to be hated than a traitor. Prometheus thinks only of mortals and himself. I'm surprised Chronos would entrust anything to him.
Although I said I didn't wish to speculate, I cannot shake the sense that Chronos values him because so many mortals do. The new golden age he seeks to bring about. An age for mortals, not for gods.
Doubtless all the mortals' problems would be solved.
Well done. You flushed Prometheus out from his hiding spot. Slipped from his chains somehow. Whether he's a pure idealist or merely in it for rebellion's sake, I've yet to ascertain.
His reasons for siding with Chronos seem plain enough. For one, he wants his vengeance on Lord Uncle Zeus and the rest. And for another, he's a Titan himself.
I am a Titaness as well, as his sister Selene, lest you forget. Our lineage need not dictate our loyalties or principles. Although perhaps Prometheus sees otherwise.
Is it true he can see all that is to come?
He's merely mad, perhaps. And in more ways than one.
Moonlight guides you.
Moonlight guide us all.
You. Got yet another Titan up against us, huh? Prometheus. One of the smart ones, so they say. And now, an enemy. Could have been on our side had your family not... you know.
Yes, the whole chain him to a mountain so an eagle could eat his regenerating liver for eons thing. Not one of the proudest moments on Olympus, I have to imagine.
Come ask me whether he deserves his vengeance if ever you want to feel any worse about that whole mess.
Watch with the treason, Nem.
You returned. Hermes informed me that Prometheus redoubled his attacks upon Olympus after he fended you aside. Have I not trained you how to withstand flames?
If only all he had was flames, but no, he has a vicious eagle pet and more. What of Olympus? What has he done?
He's kept the gods on their back foot, never fully committing his forces, avoiding fights he cannot win. Frustrating adversary, even if he shall not prevail.
Why not?
He's but one Titan against a dozen or more gods.
Prometheus opposes us. Now that one hurts, goddess. Amongst us mortals, he was quite popular, beloved even. Gave us the gift of fire. Practically made us who we are.
And in so doing, he violated the will of Olympus. Supposedly, he has the gift of foresight. He ought to have anticipated the consequences of his disobedience.
What makes you think he didn't? All the more reason we admired him. He knew the cost of what he did for us and paid it willingly, or so I choose to think. But all that's in the past. If he's thrown in with Chronos now, he's lost his way.
He's done both.
To all of you just joining up, welcome.
Commander, what is the consensus here about Prometheus? If some mortals venerated him, perhaps you and your disciples feel conflicted that he now opposes us.
The Titan who brought fire, reason, good eats, and the arts and stuff to mortal kind. Then faced the vengeance of the gods for all of that. Can't stand the guy, let him have it.
Wait, you can't stand him even though he did so much for you? Though mortals can be difficult to please.
Well, let's see. Has he been nice to you, or has he tried to kill you? So what if he butted us up way back when? Not like he's done much for us lately.
He has tried to kill me.
That gets straight to the bone.
Prometheus himself leading the assault against us. One of our sole allies amongst Titan kind to become a bitter foe. All because of how we treated him. All because he knows which side shall be victorious when all is said and done.
Moonlight guide you. You saw we're up against Prometheus. His whole thing is how he knows what's going to take place. Makes him quite an elusive one, I guess.
The Titan of Foresight, fighting for the Titan of Time. Perhaps merely against the gods who punished him. He may have his reasons, but he's in my way.
I know precisely what you mean. Though if he truly knows the future, wouldn't he choose the winning side? Careful with him, sister.
messenger.
We've got more Titan problems than we figured, Em. If Gramps could get Prometheus to take his side, who only knows what else. Ruffled a lot of feathers, haven't we?
It never shall.
I draw you down, O moon. Lend me your light.
The Titans never stood together, even when the gods and Chronos first fought long ago. Prometheus, he stood with Zeus back then, but now, his purposes are crossed with ours. Another enemy of my own kind. Please make your choice.
Prometheus stole fire from us not for mortal kind, but because he desired it for his own gain. What good is that power to him now, upon a mountain cold as ice?
I would like to know my niece's many things, such as just how did devious Prometheus slip from his bonds? These Titans, we can't seem to get rid of them for good, but we can douse the flames they stole at least.
So we've got Titan problems real close to home. Blasted shame about Prometheus, but then I reckon if Dad chained me up and had an eagle chew me liver every day, I'd be mad too.
Raining again.
Chronos and now Prometheus are back to haunt us, all because we've failed to get rid of them back when we had a chance. Who next, I wonder? You witches rarely need to come up with a means to dispense with the mortals for good.
So, the Titan of Foresight slipped his chains and fights against us now. A pity that. Been on the outs with us ever since we caught him red-handed with my flames. Stole fire for the sake of mortal kind. Could have just asked me nice.
Chaos, right. Must have been my chaos spoon just then.
He never seemed to lack the smarts, as I recall. Was a right level-headed sort. But now, he's serving Chronos, making mayhem for us here. They say he sees the future, so we must know he won't get away with this.
Drink, 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 drink. Yeah! Hey, good looking.
Happy feasting, my lord.
Cheers.
Have you had any run-ins with Prometheus? Since Chronos wouldn't dare show his face on this mountain, he must have sent this lackey of his to keep all of Olympus occupied.
Prometheus? He's back. I must be out of the loop. But he was still strapped to some mountainside, getting his innards gnawed out by an eagle. Something nasty of the sort.
That did supposedly occur, but he is definitely back, personally leading the vanguard trying to tear Olympus apart. If he prevails, no more feasting.
Come on, baby, it can't be all that bad. What's he gonna do, cook our food with the flame he took from Dad? Tell you what, next time you see him, tell him to stop by.
No, Ugh.
I think we've got it all under control. Look who's here!
Moonlight guide us.
What was that? So did you have a chat with old Prometheus on my behalf or what? I'd go on over and invite him here myself, but I'm the host. It wouldn't do for me to slip away, would it?
Of all the things for you to vividly recall, you truly wanted me to direct one of our most bitter foes here to a feast not even your closest family members know about.
I mean, yeah. We gods can be so stubborn and stuck up, waving our weapons at each other when we ought to wave an olive branch instead. Now you go tell that hothead that we're saving him a spot.
We'll see.
Beware ahead. The Titan Prometheus is able to elude me, knowing that I am focused on his vanguard forces. But he'll have no choice but to confront you if you press on.
He's the Titan of Foresight. He knows exactly what we're planning, doesn't he? And can retaliate accordingly.
He knows what is to come to some extent, yes. But he can only see outcomes, not read minds. And just because he knows you're coming doesn't mean he can stop you. My Aegis is yours.
Fine work as
Stand
always.
down.
Have you confronted Prometheus before? You mentioned he's been able to elude you. Perhaps he knows he'd stand no chance against you if you fought.
I knew Prometheus prior to all this. I suppose our tendencies toward matters of the mind connected us. You know that he stole the gift of fire from mortal kind. Well, he also gave them reason from me. Some of them, anyway.
I shudder to think what mortals must have been like before they had any reason. Although perhaps Prometheus ought to have kept some reason for himself.
Perhaps he thinks he did, or has as much as he requires. Unfortunately, reason tends to be in lesser abundance than most would dare to admit. Even if you're thwarted by the Titan Prometheus, it is a benefit to our war effort. For if he's having to confront you, then he is unable to cause his mayhem elsewhere.
That is of little consolation to me, Lady Athena. This is not his first crime against Olympus and our family. Thus, his punishment is to be even more severe.
Do not concern yourself with that. His prior punishment inspired this still greater transgression, rather than remorse for his past deeds. For the moment, our strategy merely requires that he not stand in our way. Then very well. Prometheus awaits.
Lord Uncle.
Traitorous Titan Prometheus leads the vanguard of our enemy's forces on Olympus. Apparently he didn't learn a thing from when we punished him for his past crimes. We shall have to think of new ways to make him come around. You may have heard about the actions of Prometheus that earned him all my wrath. He stole from us, denied us the glory of bestowing fire onto mortal kind on our own terms. He suffered as a consequence, but not nearly enough.
Give up a boon.
Greetings. Daughter, answer me something. How is it that the Titan's armies are well organized enough to siege Olympus, when the Titan himself cowers here in Tartarus?
We have another Titan to contend with there. Prometheus is leading the attack. I don't know how exactly he got free, or what he truly wants, other than vengeance on the gods.
Is vengeance on the gods an insufficient desire in itself? I wanted nothing to do with his sentencing, but your Lord Uncle Zeus, he really would always claim that he could fashion more creative punishments than I. Hell. Who else besides Prometheus does Chronos have under his thumb? I would know every last Titan or such ilk who deigned to turn on us.
Besides marauding hordes of satyrs and such, the ones that come to mind include the Cyclops Polyphemus and Nyx's daughter, Eris, though she may be acting on her own.
Strife could never be controlled. Nyx knew only too well. As for that Cyclops, he and your uncle Poseidon have some history that may have spurred his impulses. Well, it is not yet the longest list of enemies, at least.
Returned again, I see. The Titan of Foresight confessed that you were able to withstand his fury, to which I said, Prometheus, my good fellow, if you knew this would transpire, why did you not forewarn me? And why did you not prevent it?
Perhaps you overestimate the Titan of Foresight's power to clearly see into the future, along with his strength.
He claims to keep the details of the future to himself, so as not to alter the desired outcome. How convenient. It does not take a genius such as he to know I shall eventually prevail.
have you done?
So hold on. How is it you're going after the Titan of Time way down below, but he's also attacking Olympus way up top? Is he two separate guys or just the one?
Chronos isn't attacking Olympus personally, Dora. He's just sending his legions there. He has a dangerous commander leading the assault. A different Titan called Prometheus.
A different Titan called Prometheus? Prometheus. Huh.
Yes, the Titan of Foresight. Even you probably know the tale of his punishment for stealing from the gods.
No, it's... I think... Nah, don't worry about it. See you later, Mel.
You sure?
Prometheus.
Here's our prey.
Tell me, Titan, do you recall a mortal woman by the name of Dora? Her shade responded strangely when I mentioned you, but can't seem to remember what you did.
Let's leave it be, Agent of Change. That old shade's latent memories have more to do with gods and their deceptions than with anything I did.
Elaborate. Tell me what happened to her. You keep blaming everything on the gods, as though all this is solely their responsibility.
Oh, on the contrary. I take responsibility for mortal kind. But for all their failings, vices, and downfalls, I am not to blame. Nor is this Dora. You tell her I said that.
How can this be?
Dora, I hope you don't mind, but I asked Prometheus himself about this old connection that you feel. He's cagey with his words, but does seem to remember you in turn.
Oh. Kind of weird of you to do that, especially since it sounds like he's trying to kill your family up there, but thanks. What do you say?
Well, he said he's not to blame for mortal kind's failings and such, and that neither are you, and asked I tell you so on his behalf. Before attacking me, per usual, of course.
Whew, that's a relief. All this time, I figured if there's any two individuals responsible for all the badness mortals have to deal with, it's Prometheus and me. We're talking stomach aches, heartaches, taxation, lying, cheating, you name it.
It's utter nonsense, but do you have any idea what he could have meant?
Nope. But since you're the one who's talking to him on the regular, maybe you could ask. Now that we're curious.
We'll figure this out.
Prometheus. Titan of Foresight. Yeah.
Hey, is everything all right with you, Dora? I didn't mean to upset you with talks of Titans when last we spoke.
I'm good, Mel. I don't get mad much anymore, really, and don't get weirded out either. It's just... something about the name Prometheus. It's like... it meant something to me.
But Prometheus was imprisoned for eons prior to this point. If you remember him, it's from a while back.
I'd be ancient history. But I hardly remember yesterday. Don't know how come I'd remember something from that long ago. Not that I do remember anything from then, except...
Except what?
Just a feeling. But it isn't great.
Your companion, Dora. She does not remember me, not yet. But she shall. And in so doing, remember why she chose to forget me to begin with. And forget so much more.
You say she's not to blame for the failings of mortal kind, as though she could have carried such a burden to begin with. What happened? How do you know her?
That one is haunted by her past, as you can see. But it is not my place to tell you any more than I already have, lest you recall too much too quickly. All in due time, as my master would say.
Late again, huh?
Prometheus refuses to elaborate about your past with him, Dora. but he believes you're going to remember soon enough. My worry is you're better off not knowing.
And what makes you say that? Besides the part where I've already told you I get a not great feeling just from sounding out his name. Prometheus, ugh, yeah, there it is.
He gave me the impression you forgot about him, and much more, by choice. If that's true, perhaps it's for the best. If only for the sake of your past self.
Forget my past self, Mel. My current self is pretty caught up now in getting to the bottom of all this. Isn't there some sort of witch spell you could do to jog my memory or something?
Well, now that I know of this specific connection you seem to have, it's something to work with. But are you absolutely sure it's what you want?
Oh yeah. It's gonna be something good.
I'll take your word for it.